Good afternoon, everybody. How's it going? Hello, Mr. Your friend Andy. Welcome to the party. How are you?
Hello. That that intro is far more epic than I think I feel at the moment. So thanks for that.
I come off of that very hyped, like ready to go. I growing up was never a huge fan. Like I was never big into like Gundam or anything like that or anime. But
For
after
shame.
watching that every time after watching that, I'm like, let's go. I'm ready. Like throw me in there. Show
We
me
gotta
what's
get
going
some.
on. But
We gotta get some anime
I know.
in your daily diet of watching things.
All right, so on that note, completely pivoting, what's your go-to? Like, what's your recommended go-to? I think I spent my most time getting into anime later in life watching quite a few seasons of Dragon Ball Z. Like, and that was the extent of mine. What was yours? We're completely pivoting right now.
All things Dragon Ball is great. My go-to recommendation for people who um, aren't in the world of anime is usually Cowboy Bebop. Highly
Mm,
recommend that one.
okay, there was one I watched with a buddy of mine. I remember in high school we binged it, and I don't remember the name of it. It was some guy in like a red like trench coat with like a crazy gun, like
Trigun.
is that what that is? See, I don't know
Yeah.
what I don't know.
Trigun is
But-
also a fun one. Yeah.
so there's that's my entry into anime for those in
Okay.
chat that are welcome to the crypto mining stream talking
Mhm.
anime. Thanks for
Right.
joining us today. Do appreciate it. But yeah, thanks guys for coming out with us today. We are live chatting with the community. We are going to be jumping into this fun topic here of when is Bitcoin hitting $100,000, and we can give you the exact day and the exact time. Isn't that right, Andy?
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's going to be a flawless date and time prediction. I mean, it's not even prediction; it's just fact at this point. So
Fact.
everybody,
Fact.
take note.
Yes, I am. Those of you guys that are not getting the little sarcasm here, it is very much the case amongst myself, amongst our circles of we love laughing a little bit at people that try to predict the market, let alone predict the cycles. I always tell people like it's famous in my Discord of like me pulling out my magic 8 ball and shaking it, and it goes either way. Like the outcome is not in your favor or you're fucked, are like the two things. It's like that it's from Bart Simpson type of deal. Like I do that all the time in my Discord because there's so many people that really ask this question, right, of like, when is Bitcoin going back up, when's the bull market, when's altcoin season? And like I cringe when I tune into these YouTube videos or live streams where people are sitting there reading charts, and I'm just like, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but and you have been in the industry far longer than I have, especially with Bitcoin. But every time I see these, I roll my eyes because it's like I haven't been in there that long, but I've been in long enough, about 6 years now, where it's like I stopped trying to predict when and stop trying to read charts and stop trying to determine cycles because I feel like it's absolutely the Wild West day in and day out.
All the people who repeatedly tell me that yes, you can use the charts to predict things, or it's very clear. They None of them seem to be billionaires, which is a little bit odd to me. If you can use
Yep.
these charts to precisely predict things, I think charts are very helpful. I think you can help you make decisions and stuff, but by and large, I find technical analysis (TA) to be astrology for men. It's just like it makes you feel good, and it tells you kind of what you want to. It can, like, depending on how you draw your lines, it either confirms or denies the things you already believe or think are going to happen.
Yep.
Like everybody has something different, a little different flavor of what they want it to say, and that's what it does say
Mhm.
for them. But I can't deny there's people who do look at the charts, but more importantly, I think they look at the data, not basing it all on the charts, and have been pretty successful in predicting a number of things, especially this cycle. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah,
I was going to say
continue.
on that note, absolutely. I mean, I think it is interesting. I think we can all agree that like right now, um, the cycle does not look normal, right? It is not. If we look back at the last few cycles, we kind of look at like, okay, well, based off of it, here's a 4-year cycle, and based off of it, we can see here's a bull run, here's a bear market, and I think all of that rang true to me in some methodology until we got to the last few years, and then it was very like, oh, this doesn't look like the norm. We aren't getting the altcoin cycle that we all hoped for. Was that, time period when Dogecoin was upwards of 46 cents or whatnot, was that our altcoin season, right? Like it was a short 4-month time period. And I think the challenge is that, we have a lot of individuals in the space, and I'm not calling out any names. I don't know anybody by name that would be that, just within the crypto space that likes to throw around these open-ended answers to like, when's Bitcoin going to hit 100,000? You know what I mean? And they just like go ahead and throw out like, oh, it's going to be, in the next 2 years. Well, great guess. Like awesome guess. Love to hear that. Like, you sound like the weatherman. It's going to rain sometime soon. Like what? Like, and that's really what I look at. And pivoting back a little bit to the charts that you were mentioning, it's interesting. I talk with a lot of people that come from traditional finance because they're always the ones that I feel like that are most interested in Bitcoin, and like they're there, but they're not there. And when looking at that, and they're looking at charts and stuff, we can look at like let's pick like was a major flop for me in traditional stocks, which was Peloton. I got into Peloton during COVID and it was blowing up and it was awesome. And what was I looking at? I was looking at, okay, people are stuck inside, and maybe this entire video will get demonetized because we mentioned the word COVID. Remember that when that was a thing?
Yeah.
But I got into Peloton during COVID, bought many stocks of it, bought my own Peloton during that time period. That's actually what sold me to buy the stock. It wasn't just blatantly. And I was like, okay, people are going to be stuck inside. Gyms aren't open as available. I should get in on this Peloton thing. And I came a little bit later to the game, but it was doing really, really well. And so those were things that I looked at of like, okay, real world situations where we have a product, we have high demand for it. And the demise of that, unfortunately, was that Peloton ran into massive logistic issues and couldn't fulfill orders. And that stock just dumped. Big loss for me in that regard. But that being said, okay, we have kind of these cause and effects, right? We can look at it, we can look at this stock and say, okay, I see a reason as to why it will go up. And it's really an individual reason, right? It's like, okay, people are stuck inside, they need to work out, okay, that all makes sense. When I look at Bitcoin, there's so many factors that affect that, like that COVID and wanting to work out and not being able to go into gyms. When I look at Bitcoin, I look at like, wow, there are so many things that affect this, whether it's the FOMC and interest rates, whether it's wars overseas, whether it's a strategy making an announcement, or Michael Saylor making an announcement, or this or that. And I feel like that's, to me, what makes Bitcoin so unpredictable, because it's not like a traditional stock. What are your thoughts on that?
You said a lot of things that I have thoughts on.
Awesome.
One, like back to the chart stuff. There are certainly lots of people who, well, not lots of people. There are certainly some people out there who view charts and do TA, and they have a strategy and they make money trading, doing that consistently over time. But that amount of people is a tiny slice of the people who attempt that. Most people who attempt that fail miserably at it and never find success doing it. And when it comes to like trying to time things, I post a lot about Bitcoin on X, and it's primarily what I talk about over there. And I talk about how I'm constantly stacking it. And there's every time I talk about it, people come out of the woodwork saying, it's stupid to stack it right now. Just wait until it's 50,000 or it's 40,000 or whatever. And my answer to that is, after I've been in this space for 10 years, and I bought my first Bitcoin, slice of Bitcoin in 2014. In that time, would I be surprised if Bitcoin went down to $40,000 or $50,000 right now? No, absolutely not. Do I think we could have bottomed at 59K? Because it seems like 60K has been very hard fought. Yeah, sure. I can also see that. But if you're somebody who's convinced it's going lower and you're holding all your capital for when it goes lower, if we don't go lower, what do you do? Do you buy at 70 now when it goes up? Do you buy at 80? You just miss your opportunity. It's the same for like, if people online, the extreme bears convinced you at 75K that we're going to 50, or maybe that you were finally convinced at like 65K or something, and you sold all your Bitcoin and you're waiting for 50 or 40 so you can buy back. Well, right now we're at 64 and we did drop down to 59, but did you buy back? If you didn't and we don't hit 50, well then you're screwed. Like, you can't ever get back the Bitcoin you sold, the amount. So I just think there's an incredible amount of risk for like 99% of people to try to trade or time these things. And that's why, like, again, you talk about the traditional markets, when it comes to like the S&P or just the stock market in general. That's why the idiom there is always, don't try to time the market, just try to have as much time in the market as you possibly can. The same goes true for Bitcoin, in my estimation. After being in this space for over 10 years, I just stack constantly, no matter the price. And so far, that's worked out pretty well for me. Yes, it sucks if you were buying a lot at 126 and we're at 60K now. But one day, this is, I don't know, in my thesis for investing in Bitcoin, 126K down to 60K is just going to be like a footnote. We're going to be at 250K in the next 5 years, if not a million plus in the next 10 or so years, maybe. And you won't really care if you bought at 60 or you bought at 80 or whatever. It's all pretty meaningless percentages at those bigger valuations.
Yeah, I think something you had touched on there, which I think is important for the audience. Guys, I am going to kick off some questions here because I think it'll be good if you guys have questions you want to throw at us, go ahead. There's a little feature within the chat. Go ahead and just throw them in there, and we'll kind of, go ahead and rush them and circle back to them in a little bit. There's a little question box there. But that being said, something you touched on there, I think is important, is like, if you go ahead and you're buying, instead of like trying to time the market, like you had mentioned there, which is always super difficult, and you don't know. But I always tell people, you don't know what you don't know, right? And so if you take that away and you take the emotional side away, right? Because when you see Bitcoin drop, there's a lot of emotion in that. People get concerned, upset, doubt, fear. That fear index that we speak about a lot. And I think if you decide instead to buy, once a week, once a month, whatever, it takes that emotional side out of it, right? Like, it's just like, okay, I'm going to go through this, whether it's 63,000 or it's 126,000. And yes, to a somebody from traditional finance might not see eye to eye with that, based off of how conservative they are, where they're like, no, like we sit on our hands for 10 years until we see this dump or see we drop, and then that's when we buy. And then, versus in this situation, as you had alluded to, like, if you just take the emotion out of it and you're like, listen, every Friday I get paid, I'm going to go ahead and buy $50 in Bitcoin. I'm not saying a fortune, folks. But what I do say is like, hey, maybe have an extra $50, so you're at $100, so that when it does drop down to 59, it's a buying opportunity. Like, now you're like, okay, I want to take advantage of this. And so instead of 50 during those time periods, maybe you do 100. I always like to put a little bit of stable coin aside when I take so many big wins anywhere, and go ahead and use that during that time period. When Bitcoin hits 59, it's like, oh, great, I'm going to buy a little bit more each day during that time period, because in reality, it's a discount. And my same buying behavior will occur later on. Thank you very much, Joker, for the $5. Who are these guys? That's right. But what that also steps into for me, and I think you're in that same boat, and you talk a lot about this on Twitter, is the fact of like, you're doing that exact same behavior daily with Bitcoin miners, or with, you know what I mean? Like, you're literally buying Bitcoin every single day, trading electric for Bitcoin every single day. And as you've alluded to, you've had some great success with it, being in it for over 10 years.
Yeah, these days I don't buy Bitcoin. I have, you have as many or more Bitcoin miners as I do, and when you're stacking $4,000 to $6,000 of Bitcoin every single month, like, you can, I guess, buy more on top of that, but that's already a substantial amount stacking every single month. And so that is totally adequate for me, in terms of my stacking, just because once upon a time, I've dollar cost averaged for so many years, but in 2019, when Bitcoin dropped below $4,000, I couldn't believe it. And so I was dumping every spare dollar I had into Bitcoin. In 2022, after the FTX collapse, everyone was convinced Bitcoin was dead, crypto was done. I was like, this is a great opportunity. So under $20,000, every dollar I had, I was dumping it into Bitcoin. And I've had a few moments like that where I've just been able to gobble up as much as I possibly can. And then I supplemented that with dollar cost averaging. And because of that, because of a 10-year journey, I have an amount that I'm pretty happy. I mean, you can never have enough. I obviously am mining a lot more, but I have an amount that I'm happy with. And at this point, I'm just content to be stacking. And then any money I want to put into the market, I've either been buying some hardware, or I've been buying some altcoins at values that I think are worth buying. Or I've just been, like you said, a big thing is just stacking stables and waiting for those moments when I think the timing is somewhat right, or I'm ready to start dollar cost averaging again, or I want to change which one I'm dollar cost averaging into, those bigger lump sums, that type of stuff. So the strategy varies. But that is the beauty of mining or doing auto buys, is like, regardless of how you feel, regardless of what's happening out there, you're stacking without even thinking about it. And there is a lot of power if you stretch it out over a long enough timeline in doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Something I wanted to touch on there too that you had mentioned was like, getting to a point where you're content with what you have, and with Bitcoin. And I think I hit that in 2025 where I was like, okay, cool. I am happy where I'm at now, because during that time period, I was in like, go, go, go. I want to accumulate what I can when I can, and why did I wait? Why was it 2025? Only because it took me that long to get into a financial place that I was comfortable. Plus the fact for me, I had the ASIC, enough ASIC miners, at that point where I was accumulating a significant amount. And so, yeah, I accumulated a lot of Bitcoin to the point where I was comfortable with it. And now I'm kind of slow, just DCAing into it every single day with my miners, and taking a percent. And it's small. It's like right now, I think I'm at 10% of all my daily earnings are going into that Bitcoin. And then the rest of it is going into operational cost, and going into paying bills and paying electric and paying salary and all of that types of stuff. So for me, I'm in that spot now, where I am comfortable with where I am, but that doesn't mean I stopped accumulating. It's just I'm accumulating a lot smaller, but I'm always looking for a buying opportunity, kind of like what you had alluded to. Like if all of a sudden we saw Bitcoin hit 59 again today, I'd be like, all right, we're gonna buy, a few thousand. And that's just where I'm at, folks. Like those of you guys watching, especially, like it doesn't have to be that much. Extra $50, extra, whatever it is. Like don't go crazy, don't go above your means, which I think is good. But pivoting a little bit there, you spoke, we spoke to mining. What does Andy's mining farm look like at a larger 50,000 foot level right now?
I'm running 21 Bitcoin ASICs. I did have 27 or 28 at my peak, but I've taken the vast majority of my S19s and sold those off and replaced them with at least S21s. So I've gone down in number of units, but I've gone up in hash rate and efficiency. I'm running
Awesome.
4 L9s, which another thing I'm quite satisfied with my Doge stack. So those all
Nice.
On PowerPool just convert over to USDC every day. And I've just been stacking the USDC, waiting for buying opportunities that I see. And then like you, running a Z15 Pro, and that one also. Well, I have one at my house that's down a hash board, but that one has been running. I turned it off for maybe 2 months at the beginning of this year after Zcash had crashed so much, and my home electric rate is 13 cents per kilowatt hour, 12 cents per kilowatt hour. So it was like right on the borderline of being profitable, and I didn't want to pay for it. But when it started going back up, I turned it back on. I've been running that since October, and that's just been stacking USDC, and that's stacked like $6,000 worth of USDC since then. But now I have one hosted with Musk Miners, and so I've got a second one online with all 3 hash boards going. And this one's an 860 K Sol machine, the newest one. And so that one's stacking USDC. I don't really care about Zcash personally. I just love the profitability of it. And so that one actually might be stacking 50% Bitcoin, 50% USDC. But either way, it's not stacking Zcash. And aside from that, it's like some DEPIN devices and some little home miners, and still have some nodes and some staking and stuff going on. But that's the full setup these days.
I love it. Quick note on the nodes. I decided not to renew my Flux node. I got my Flux node, should I say. I got a message from Node Orbit, because that's who I run my nodes at. And it was like, hey, you got to log back in to Zelcore and like restart that node. And I hit up Jonathan over at Node Orbit, and I'm like, hey, brother, I think it's that time. Like I'm good. And he's like, I don't blame you. So that, as of yesterday, that was the end of my Flux nodes running. I decided it is what it is, but now it just sits, right? Like, and I get it. And I think at this point, it's just like, hey, it's not worth the time. It's not worth the money in that regard. I am right there with the Neoxa stuff too, which I think somebody in chat was telling me, like, they're running Neoxa is now like, you can host Neoxa nodes for like 60 cents a month or something like that. Stupid. Like, I don't know if somebody said something like that in my Discord recently, and I was like, wow, that is a desperate plea of like, our nodes are being shut down left and right, and we need this infrastructure. Please just keep them up and running, is what I'm hearing. Somebody in chat correct me if you heard the same thing, or look into that. But yeah, back on that, on the mining stuff. Love the Zcash. I wish I would have gotten into it a little bit earlier. Just had my, unfortunately, snafu with shipping, which was really frustrating. But I did end up getting mine up and running, and that's been awesome. Been running solid. I actually have that in my black box upstream box over at the shed property. That's been doing really, really good. Thankfully, hasn't been super sensitive to like temperatures and stuff like that, especially in that black box. And we've had loads of over 90-degree days there. But I am in a fleet refresh mode as of right now. So for me, a lot of this, I think I shouldn't put a label on this, but I will. I'll just say it as me as a creator. I let some of this hardware kind of lapse and run longer than it should. And so I am in the process of pulling all my ASICs back from hosting and reevaluating what I have where, selling what I have where, figuring out what I want to run here versus have hosted, kind of like a whole kind of redo there. I've been selling a lot of hardware actually in my Discord to community members, and that's been awesome. So thank you to everyone that's purchased over there. Just everything from full-size ASICs to solo miners, PDUs, just going through, cleaning house. It's time to go through that stuff and kind of reevaluating where I am, trying to skinny up a little bit, get a little bit more efficient. As you have said, I did get my first hydro miner up and running just 2 weeks ago, so that was awesome. That additional hash rate, man, that adds up very, very quickly with those things, which is wild in that regard. I have the S19 XP Plus. I was looking at, and the reason I went with that, my first one for hydro, was the electric rate where I am is low, sub 6 cents. We'll just put it that way. And the opportunity for getting the most out of that dollar per terahash was really, really good. I mean, I paid $800 for that thing. So you're $800 for 300 terahash is what you come in at. Now, the argument is like, hey, it uses 5,500 watts, and I get it 100%. But when you're looking at like, what else is equivalent to about 300 terahash, the S21 XP, you're a few $1,000s in, so it's kind of like, okay, like, I may pay a little bit more on this side, when it comes to electric versus your daily profitability, but it does end up doing pretty well in that regard. And that's kind of where I've been at and worked out well. And yeah, so it'll be interesting. There's a lot. I mean, I have such a variety of hardware. My goal is to keep my AlphaPex DG1 pluses up and running, my Volk miners. I mean, those are 16, 17 terahash. They're right there, right next to the L9s. Keep my L9s running. But I do have some older stuff in there. I mean, S19K Pros, the S21s and S21 Plus, or S21 Pro, S21 and S21 Pros. I'm probably going to move to a mining farm that I have access to a profit share model. So it gets me really skinnied up electric, real low electric rate. But I do need to share in some of those profits, because where I'm at is like, do I sell these for a few $100 on eBay? Maybe. Or do I keep my skin in the game, continue to accumulate Bitcoin every single day? Might be a little bit less, but I'm still accumulating. So it is just kind of like and there's no right or wrong answer, I feel like you could go either direction with it. And so that's really where I've been recently, of just kind of figuring out what that really looks like.
Yeah. Well, even at 6 cents per kilowatt hour, and you just alluded to
Yep.
you're cheaper than that at S19 XP Hydro at 293, the not a 300 terahash unit is profitable. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you have cheap
Yep.
enough, that's what people. When I put, you've got this a bunch of times, I'm sure, but when I post
Hmm.
mining video or something, or one about like a home miner, and they say someone will inevitably be like, "I have free electricity. Is this profitable?" I'm like, dog, if you have free electricity, anything is profitable. Like there's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if you don't pay for electricity, like everything is profitable. So yeah, that's certainly a consideration. Is the cheaper your electricity, the more viable certain machines.
Yep.
But yeah, I have the S21 XP Hydro,
Mm.
which is the
Wow.
490 something terahash. It's just so wild to me that when I
Mhm.
started this journey in 2022, my first machines were 110 terahash S19 Pros, just plain Jane Pros, at 110 terahash at like
Mhm.
3,200 watts. And now I just bought a machine that has almost 5x the hash rate, but only twice the electricity usage. It's
Not
just
even. Yeah.
not
Wild.
even. It's crazy. And it's not even the most efficient on the market. The S23 hydros, which would be cool to check one of those out. But yeah, very happy with the hydro. I want more hydro units. They're just so efficient, and supposedly, we'll see. Fingers crossed, they're supposed to last a lot longer, which would
Yeah.
also be great. But I
Yeah.
will say a regret, and I've shared this with you many times. This is something that you did far better than I did. As I wish I had gone.
Whoa.
I wish I'd gone much harder on Scrypt mining
Yes.
earlier on, because it's just been so consistently profitable for so many years now,
Yep.
and they've just been showing how flexible and how powerful they are. And the mine difficulty for Doge has just not seen what Bitcoin's difficulty has done. So they've just stayed consistent, which has been great. They're just paying out constantly, and now we have the flexibility of pools like power pool mining and
Mhm.
others. You can choose how you want to get paid and still have all the various merge mining stuff happening in the background and not even pay attention to all of it.
Yeah, definitely. Quick pivot, guys. Just a heads up. Put questions in chat. There's a little question option at the top or at the bottom if you're on mobile. That just adds them to the question area. We're going to jump into those in just a minute. Yeah, talking about hydro, it's interesting. I remember when I was at BTC Vegas, Bitmain did not come to the table with, like, I didn't get a chance to see the air cooled S23. They didn't have it there. They did have a Z15 Pro, which I'm not surprised based off of that success. They didn't have an L11 or L11 Pro. Those were ones I was really interested in, but they did have the S23 Hydro, and I think that was the first time I literally like took the time to really think through the actual efficiency on that thing. Over 500 terahash at like 5510, and it's like,
Mhm.
wow, 9 joules per terahash. Now this is advertised, so I get it. You got to take it with a grain of salt, but still,
Yeah.
even within 10% of that is still insane to think about. And where you really get into is, and I get it, as community members, like, everybody starts small. I get it. Thinking about density, thinking about like the value of that rack slot, that's really where that comes down in. How do I get the most for that? And when you were alluding to Scrypt, yeah, I was actually over at the shed property the other day, and I have all those intake guards over top of the inline fans because I've cut up so many shirts. And I was looking, 99% of them are yellow Dogecoin versus
Hmm.
there's a few big. I got like two S21 XPs over there, an S21, and a S21 Pro, and then I think that's it for Bitcoin. And nothing against Bitcoin, all for Bitcoin. I'm stacking like Bitcoin is my goal there with that, or in that regard. But yeah, you're right. The Scrypt has worked out really, really well. I think that's why for me, like a lot of these S21s, I have S21 Pros, anything older S19K Pros. It's just they're going to go, I'm going to call it the graveyard. They're going to go to that profit share opportunity I have and just go there to die. Like when that S19K Pro dies and you can buy one for like $120 used, there is no interest in having that thing fixed. It's like, all right, send it to be with Jesus. We're done. Like it has done its time. But yes, I agree. It's definitely been an interesting market.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's, I think, everything we've said, especially when you're talking about you're constantly going through everything and trying to sell stuff. I think that's
Yeah.
the mindset you have to stay in this game. You can't be lazy. You can't sit on your hands. You have to constantly be reassessing. I know I do this with my own crypto positions, but also, with your hardware and stuff, and just let go of stuff that doesn't make sense or that you don't have time
Yeah.
for. And then, maybe there's somebody else out there who has a different situation than you. They have tons of solar power. They've got free electricity. They have super cheap electricity. They have some kind of, situation where they can make use of that and, give it over to them and let them deal with it and take it out off your plate. Because not only is doing that with your crypto positions themselves, but also your hardware, just smart from a like monetary standpoint. But I think you can attest to this, the mental release of like letting go of some of that stuff and just not having that burden of having to think about it and worry about it anymore is massive. It frees you up to focus on other opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. What I wanted to comment here on, which I think was good, David Hughes had just jumped in and this wasn't really a question. This was a statement, but I want to speak to it. Must miners relocation of miners from Iowa to Arkansas is testing my patience of 6 weeks with no mining. So, love to comment on that a little bit. I don't work with Must miners directly. I've been to their mining farms. I know Blake and Chris. Well, here's what I would say. I would say, as a customer in your situation, there's something to consider. The first thing that comes to mind is like, what's in your SLA? What's in your uptime per year? Take a look at that to see, because what would come to mind for me if I was in your shoes would be, okay, like once we get back up and running, what was that total downtime and how is that going to be made up? Moving a mining farm, in my mind, and this is any company, moving from one location to another is not your problem as a client. Like as a customer, that's not on you. Like that's not your unit needs to be up at all times. So what does that look like? Like if you're down for 6 weeks, are you now at 90% uptime? And I don't know what your agreement looks like, guys. This is why you got to read it. But if you're at 90% uptime and they're guaranteeing 96% uptime, how are they making up that 6%? Are they compensating you financially at the end of that year? Because you got to wait for the year. You can't just be like, okay, this happened. You got to wait for that whole year. Or like, what does that actively look like? And the second thing I would just say is like, honestly, message them every single day. Like I would say this to even the companies I work with, message them every single day for an update. And guess what? It's going to be bothersome to them, but that's okay. You're the customer. So those are my thoughts. And any insight there, Andy, you may have?
My insight is I'm right there with you, David.
Okay.
I've had half of my machines offline waiting for them to transfer as well. I think, well, I will say this, it's going to be a good, I mean, it sucks it's taken so long. And I really wish they would hurry up. And so David, do what Hobby said and just be sending them messages constantly and light a fire. But I'm sure they are moving as fast as they can, unfortunately. But the new facility they're moving to is a much better place for the machines and stuff and all that. So it's a good move. But yeah, it's sucked. Anytime stuff like this happens, every facility has some kind of issue at some point where they're either building a new one, they have to move stuff over, they have to put new transformers in. There's a litany of reasons why a facility has to have some downtime. So yeah, exercise your rights and abilities as a customer, but also I can just vouch for the team over at Musk that they are working hard on that stuff, but can't deny it sucks big time, and I'm right there with you.
I love it. So wanted to jump into a few questions here because some of these things were actually some of the questions that I had here. But a bare naked miner comes in and says, have either of you got back into GPU mining Pearl? Have you looked into it, Andy? Have you stepped into it? Where are you at with it?
I did a post in my crypto membership, Sleep Money Club, about it when it was on its way up and super profitable. but I have not looked at it since it fell off the face of the earth. Has it? Let's see here. Oh, so it's correcting. It's corrected considerably. So I bet it's probably pretty profitable again.
Yeah, yeah, it
Is it?
looks like it's come back up quite a bit. It's up to 64 cents right now. It's not to where it was its all-time high, which was 86 cents, but it's definitely getting there. It dipped down hard. I mean, when I was looking at it, it was down at 36 cents. It's come back up. From my side of the world, I never jumped into it in any way, shape, or form. Never got into it. Where
Like,
I participated was more from my GPU rentals. So I saw the exact value of this big Pearl craze was with my GPU rentals, with my 5090s, and even my 3090s at that time. Since then, I've sold them all. Heads up, we sold all those 3090s I talked about. Lowest price was 1100, or 1150. Highest price was 1350 for something I bought for $500 to $550 6 months ago. So massive win. I will take it. That is something that I try to encourage everyone, even with ASIC miners. When that asset pumps, take the emotion out of it. Like we're when we've gone double or a little bit more, it's time. Like absolutely. So for me, I was benefiting from it on my 3090s, sold those off, and my 5090s. And at the peak, I was doing $75 a day with 5090s, which was
well,
absolutely stupid to me.
yeah.
Absolutely
Well,
crazy.
right now, if you have a 6 card rig of just some plain Jane 3070s, even at my electric rate of 12 cents per kilowatt hour, you're making $4.50 a day in profit on Pearl. So,
Hmm.
like, if you have rigs sitting there not being used, like, what are you doing? Like, turn them on, mine Pearl, sell it every single day, and just get what you can get while you can get it. Or
Yeah.
do it, Hobby said, and rinse your machines out. But like, this is like, so this is a perfect example of why most people fail at crypto mining and crypto in general. Is stuff like this happens all the time. There's little mini opportunities left and right.
Hmm.
And on the whole, and sorry if this offends you, people are super lazy. Like, and in a market like this, everybody's been beaten to shit. Bags are down. It sucks. And people more than ever are really lazy, and they just sit on their hands and they just say, woe is me, and this sucks, and I can't, I can't find any wins. And if you just like stay in the game 24/7, just watching stuff, and something like this pops up, like jump on it, get what you can get for the week or 2 or 3 or however long it lasts. When it dips down, turn them off. If it dips back up, turn them back on, and like just work your ass off and get a little slice here and there. And eventually, I think all that adds up if you continue. But again, most people in this space, they just get worn out, and then they turn into lazy bones mode, and they stop paying
Mm.
attention every day. And I get it. I totally get it. But like, do something. Get off your butt. Do something. Like that's how you gotta. That's
Yeah.
what you gotta do to win in this space. It's cutthroat.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree there. I mean, I think it's as Greater Good had said, kudos to him. Bought my 3090 Ti for 600, sold it for 1400. Heck yeah.
Nice.
Like that's a win-win right there. And I think we just like we talked about like Bitcoin to get emotionally attached. We get emotionally attached to hardware. I remember like back during the Ethereum days, right? It was a fight to get a GPU. I mean, I was excited to get like a XFX 580. Those are those 8 gig cards. They had the red in the middle with the black. And I was hyped to get them for like $500.
Mhm.
Now you can get them for $50. Not even
I
in that
spent
regard.
obscene amounts on 1080 Ti's and
Yep.
1070s and stuff. Oh my god, yeah.
Ugh, it's just absolutely painful. But that being said, so for me for Pearl, I decided some people were like, "Hey, you could take your 5090s off of Vast, which is where I had them on, and just mine directly." Yes, I could, but that actually hurts me from like a reliability score, and reliability is huge with these rental platforms. And so
Mhm.
I'm always looking at it too. Like you got to remember how many pumps the next big Ethereums have we had since Ethereum went proof of stake, right? We've had a lot of it, like a lot of these different opportunities. And so granted, not as profitable as Pearl. Pearl's really been, an outlier, but I have very much learned like don't rush to pivot, don't rush to like it's not worth it. And I think you had talked about laziness too. And that's why I raised my hand when you said that. Cause like I made loads of those mistakes over the last several years. And I put it under the laziness factor of like sitting on hardware because it's like, oh, well, I just don't feel like selling it right now. Or like,
Mhm.
oh, this profitability is going to last. And so I'll take that older hardware, continue to run it. And now I have paperweights. And whose
Yep.
fault is that? I'm not blaming the market. I'm not blaming the network hash rate going up. That was me not being in tune with the market, viewing my miner as an asset and selling it at the best possible opportunity. Like that's all on me.
Yeah. Realizing that nobody is going to come and save you and it's like all on you is scary, but it's also incredibly liberating.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, well, a caveat to what I was saying earlier, like if you have rigs and they're on Vast or some other AI thing and you're making money, like that's not being lazy because you're not pivoting over to Pearl. That's you're actively doing something to make money with your hardware. I'm speaking more to somebody who has the 3070 or higher end rig sitting over on a shelf just collecting dust, and something like this pops up, which doesn't happen every single day, and decided, I'm not gonna deal with that. And they could have made an
Yeah.
extra couple $100, or maybe if they got
Yeah.
into it early enough and have enough rigs, a couple $1,000. But that 100 to $1,000 isn't going to make itself. You have to actually do something, and most people, unfortunately, just don't.
Pivoting a little bit here because I do want to talk about some of this. I think it's good. Greater Good Mining has said, did either of you gentlemen participate in the SpaceX IPO?
Did not.
Did not. Okay.
Did
Why
you?
not? I'm not disagreeing. I'm just asking, like, well, what was your thoughts on it? Why did you or did you not?
I am fairly bullish on SpaceX. I would like to own some SpaceX. A lot of people who have speculated and probably pushed the price of Tesla super highs because they wanted a slice of
Mhm.
SpaceX, and that was the only way to get exposure to it, myself included. So I think I'll probably want to own some, but there's a laundry list of IPOs
Mhm.
where it eventually, after all the hype fades, it drops down, and then that's when we can get an actually good
Mhm.
price on the stock. Maybe that won't happen with SpaceX. I don't know. We did have a decent little correction, but it is back up from that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm with a lot of with the stock market. I'm a pretty patient person. I don't
Nice.
I don't treat it nearly like I do the crypto markets. So I'm willing to, in the stock market, also just moves much more slowly. You don't have a same day 40% correction like you do in crypto that you can snap up real quick before it vanishes. It takes months sometimes to get those extreme discounts. So I'm watching it. But when this topic came up on IPO day, when it went live on the markets, uh, I do think there is a lot of the hype baked into some ideas that are going to be incredibly
Mhm.
difficult to actually tackle, and also
Sure.
take just a huge amount of time. A lot of people are hyped about SpaceX because AI is all the rage right now, and
Mhm.
there's this idea of building data centers in space. And I think a lot of people who are trying to buy this thing because of stuff like that don't understand the logistics of what goes into that, or the complications, or just how insurmountable of a problem that can seem like, at least today, and how long that's going to take. Full confidence stuff like that can happen, but today
Yeah.
we're not putting all of our AI compute into space next year. It's just that's an
Mhm.
impossibility. In 10 to 20 years, maybe even a little bit faster, sure. But we have a lot of problems to overcome before then. So I see the long-term value of SpaceX. Would probably like to own some, but I just think it maybe is overhyped in the near term. We'll see if I'm right or wrong on that one.
Yeah, SpaceX has a lot of companies under that umbrella. And there's a number of them where I personally like a more some of them are more bullish than others. And some of them I'd rather the opportunity to invest in them individually versus, the whole kit and caboodle of that. I am a little bit more of the hey, love to get in on this because I've been following a lot of the projects and companies underneath of it. I tune into a lot of the live streams covering a lot of the different topics on them. I've spent a ton of time learning and looking into the AI side of things because I was in the same boat of like, hey, this is really far fetched, right? data centers in space. And then I've read up on a little bit, watched a few videos on it, some of the Q&As that have gone on, and it's like, man, this is, to be honest with you, it's reality in the next year. They're actually going to be using Starlink satellites. They're a little bit bigger. They actually already have the NVIDIA racks figured out, the amount of GPUs in there. The bandwidth is not a factor there. So it's just really interesting to me. Like, it checks all the boxes, because I was super skeptical. I'm like, how are we doing with the power methodology here? I was actually big just from my network and an IT background. I'm like, there's no way that latencies. Oh, wait, no, they checked that box. Oh, they got power checked. They got cooling checked. Oh, wait, they already have a system for launching. Get up there. So anyways, for me, I'm very much interested in it. So I did try to get in on the IPO. I unfortunately only got one share. I was one of those individuals that got one share. That was like the pity share, right? So I was like, dang it. Okay. So I did end up buying in at list price there, but I want to be clear that I didn't go crazy. I bought like $1,000 worth. Like, it was nothing. It wasn't like sell my Bitcoin to buy. This is not the approach at all. And for me, it's something that I'm looking to. I am viewing it very much, and I'm hoping, and we'll see if it has the same style of behavior that Tesla has over the last several years, with lots of splits occurring and such. So we'll see what happens. I mean, as I always tell people, let me pull out my magic 8 ball, and I don't know what I don't know. And I think that's super important.
Yeah, there's lots of interesting solutions to lots of the problems. But I don't know. Maybe I'm too bearish on the idea, or too
Sure.
skeptical for my own good. But I don't know. It strikes me like, I just looked at Starlink is a great example. Just looking at how long that timeline was from conception of the idea to when we
Yeah.
actually have the network now, and it's just a really long time. And there's so
Mhm.
many issues that in the early days, were quote unquote solved, and they had to resolve them reality
Yeah.
and rubber met the road. And like, I just think about space data centers and the cost of it in the first place, because
Oh, yeah.
SpaceX has dropped the cost of putting things into orbit by an extreme margin, but it's still expensive as all get out to put stuff in space. Every kilogram
Yep.
is like a
Yep.
exorbitant price, and we have to put how much compute in space to make a meaningful difference. And like, what does maintenance look like? We don't have robotics and automation to handle this stuff yet. So is there going to be regular missions to put IT pros in spacesuits up there? Like, there's certain
Sign me
things
up.
like,
Let's go.
right? That'd be pretty cool. If that's the way to go to space, then maybe that's time to be
That's
an
right.
IT pro. Um,
That's right.
and there's one of the big ones for me was always the cooling and stuff, and I've seen lots of
Mm.
creative ways to get around that, but it's still just like space is terrible for that.
Sure.
And like everything, yeah, so I don't know. I think it's incredible technology. I think lots of great minds are thinking about it. I just think it's going to take a long ass time, and so I think I might
Yeah.
have a little bit of time to acquire some SpaceX at not hyped prices, but
Entry.
maybe it's just
Yeah.
going to go
Yeah.
up and up. I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah. No, quick, Joker might ask in chat, Andy, are there any discounts coming up for the ZZZ Club entry?
I haven't. No, I haven't thought of any or planned any, but given the market, maybe I should. Maybe I should put that on my list of to dos.
Mhm. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I think it's a good call. So question had come in earlier, and guys, if you guys have questions, like, I'm going to try to keep up with chat the best I can, but I don't want to miss them. Please go into the section that says questions. There's actually a subsection in the chat, and you can put them in there. Question comes from Vault Farm. Andy touched on it, but historically, what do you feel is the ASIC lifespan? Dead lifespan dead due to maintenance, replaced due to upgrades. So I have a lot of thoughts on this, but I thought I'd throw it over to you first, as he did mention you.
There's no answer to this. It varies so much. 1 to 5 years.
Okay.
Like, it depends on so many factors: silicon lottery, manufacturing lottery, quality control lottery, which manufacturer you're going with, the facility it's at, how well stuff is maintained. And then, of course, there's the entire equation of the profitability.
Mhm.
But like, I've had some of my some of my S19s had been running for 4 years. I've had several that have died, but I've had several that still full hash rate, no problem hashing 4 years later. Now I've turned most of those off because of profitability. So their lifespan is over for me, but they still work. So that's a different part of the equation. But L9s are a great example. Some questionable quality control with some of those, but if you have a solid one, those have maintained profitability for a long time. You could be conceivably running those for longer than 4 years at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Bitmain, especially as far as manufacturer goes, though, is very much playing the lottery to a degree. It kind of sucks sometimes.
Yeah, I get this question a lot with new individuals that I jump on like consulting calls with, where they're like, "Hey, I want to invest some capital. Well, like, what's the lifespan of this?" And when I give the answer of could be 1 week, could be 10 years, they're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, "Yep, but this is the reality." So imagine your Bitcoin miner as a vehicle, a car. You're gonna have to replace the tires, right? You're gonna have to do that oil change. You're gonna have to, replace the brakes and rotors, and every once in a while, you might have a big one, like transmission goes out. The same equates to like an ASIC miner. Your control board could go bad. Okay, not a big deal, $50. So whatever, $100, whatever. Fans could go bad. Okay, 25, $50, whatever. So those things occur. But when you have something major, like a transmission or a hash board go bad, you can send it out for repair. But it comes down to, is it worth repairing? It's not necessarily like the hard part is a car isn't a money printer, right? Like it's not every day providing you some type of currency. It's providing it's doing its task and job just like a ASIC miner would. But the challenge comes into play is when you have a major issue like a transmission or a major issue like a hash board, the question comes into play, is it worth fixing? So as that unit ages, just like a car, is it worth fixing? And that's a really fine line. And so what I tell people is, Andy had alluded to as well, is like warranties you might as well throw out the window. You can't rely on a warranty, especially with Bitmain. Some of the other manufacturers you can have a little bit better luck with. They'll fix it, but it's going to cost you. But like I've had units fixed by Canaan, I've had units fixed with, and that that was taken care of. Volk Miner, no AlphaPex units in that regard. What's Miner is pretty much like the most bulletproof one out there. So you may spend more for units that aren't Bitmain because those units have a higher quality to them, less likely to have issues. But there's no bulletproof option. We naturally gravitate to Bitmain because Bitmain is kind of the 800-pound gorilla in the room. They have 80% market share when it comes down to ASIC miners. So what does that allude to? That allows them to charge a cheaper price and have the best technology out there. Great. That doesn't mean they have the best quality of product out there. And that's really what happens a lot. And so I've talked about that a lot on my channel of like, hey, if your Bitmain breaks, I am not sending that back. And I don't recommend people, even if you're like, oh, I got a warranty, don't even do it, because I know plenty of people that Bitmain has gone, oh, we can't fix this, we're scrapping it, you're out $5,000. That's the game that exists in this industry. It's not worth it. It's better to find a third-party person. I have lots of them. I personally recommend ASIC, Antminer Repair in Florida. They're on my website. Go over and check them out. They have fixed every single thing I've sent to them. Now, there is a cost to it, because someone's doing the job. It's not like they're going to file back with a warranty like with a Bitmain for it. That's not how that works. But the question comes into play is, do you spend the money to fix something that is a great example? S9, let's say S19K Pro, like I talked about earlier. S19K Pro goes for $120 used. You can buy the dollar per terahash right now. If that has a hash board go bad, I'm not spending. Guess what? That hash board, guys, isn't going to cost you $25. You could spend a few $100s to get a replacement hash board. It's wild. Or you could just buy another used one. Like it comes into factor of like, is it even worth fixing? And the answer is no. So the question that was asked, like determining what's that longevity look like? I'm still going to stick with your miner could last a week. Your miner could last 10 years. It really just depends.
Agreed.
All right, so let's take a look here. Another question had come in, which was from Greater Good Mining. Do you guys think it's worth it to buy the L11 for slightly higher hash rate and efficiency, or would you just buy another L9? So what are your thoughts on the L11 for greater good mining?
Well, I know a number of people who had bought them, and then Bitmain decided they were going to discontinue them, but now they're, I guess, making them again. So there's that risk. Um, but I don't know. You get the. I would personally be looking at L9s at this stage. I don't know what the current prices on L11s are, but the price difference was high enough that it just made sense to me with my thesis for Doge to buy more L9 or equivalent. And then I expect the price of Doge to go up in the next 6 to 9 months enough that I will make a substantial amount from an L9 versus the greater expenditure of an L11. But I would also maybe put into consideration just a different brand. That's more so what I would be looking at.
Yeah, we're in a tough spot right now. We're in this weird lull where there is newer hardware on the horizon. So it's very much like, do you go ahead and pull the trigger? When I look at it, it is, when someone approaches me looking to buy a new Bitcoin miner right now, I'm like, oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. When looking at Scrypt miners, it's tough as well. Like, I'm not going to, AlphaPex units, the DG1 pluses are dirt cheap, but you're looking at 11 or 14 gigahash. Like, you're buying older technology. I mean, I get it. You could get it for dirt cheap, maybe. Same thing with the Volk miners. And when I bought them, I mean, they're 16, 17 terahash, but like L7s are a tough one now. L7s are over 5 years old. And so that is something I would not look into. So when you're looking at like, okay, where do I go then? Like what else is available? Well, when you look at the L9 is quite a few years old now, and so it's like, yeah, you could buy another L9, and I think that's an easy answer right now. They're the main units, traditionally a little bit cheaper. The landscape is going to look a little bit different when we see the new generation ASICs come out. Canaan's going to be releasing their units here in January, especially their home miners as well. Bitmain has kind of slow trickled their next generation units with the S23s. We haven't had a lot of the air-cooled units. I physically have not seen one of the S23s in person, touched them, looked at them at all. When I look at, a lot of these companies are going the hydro route. Now, the one that I'm most interested in is the Seal Miner DL1 as a Scrypt miner. It's 25 gigahash. So, and we all know Bitmain took a massive L with their L11. The L11 just financially did not make sense. The hash rate and the watts for the price made 0 sense. That's why they literally made a very small batch of them, and they've just kind of slowed that down entirely. There's just no, when you look at a hash rate to dollar ratio, it just makes 0 sense. Like, the math doesn't math for the L11. And so the hard part is with the price of the L9s being so low, it absolutely, is a great avenue to look at when you're looking at that. I mean, I get it. You're trying to future proof yourself. So you're like, okay, do I go with the L11? And I ask people, well, why the L11? Well, there's nothing else better right now. And I'm like, I get it, but it doesn't mean that you need to buy. So I would probably personally continue to go the L9 route. I think you're still going to get, quite a while more with the L9s, year or two, probably, maybe even more. You might get longer. We've seen longer longevity from Scrypt miners in the past, which I think is fantastic. I think the DL1 is going to disrupt that Scrypt industry quite a bit. Seal miner traditionally is cheaper. When you look at like their A2s, they were always cheaper looking at the cost of their units for the amount of hash rate you got. So the DL1, while it's going to be cheaper overall from a value of dollar per hash, it is still going to be expensive. It's going to be the best of the best. Like 25 gigahash, it's still going to, I am imagining it comes out of the gate at $12,000. And you might be like, holy cow. Well, exactly. The math isn't going to math, right? But you're trying to set yourself up for the future. But that's just a guess. I don't know what you guys don't know, but I did touch base with Seal Miner earlier this week, because their mindset at BTC Vegas was, we're mining on those units now until the market changes, and then we're going to sell them. They're not dumb. and the market hasn't changed. So the DL1 is not going to be available anytime soon. So Bitmain, what are they going to do with the L11, the L11 Pro? There's been rumors that they're going to come out with an L11 Pro that like competes with the DL1, but those are all rumors, and we don't know what we don't know. So that's a very long-winded answer to should I buy another L9, but hopefully that gives you a lot more information than what you started with. All right, let's see here. So on another note, while we're waiting for some fun questions to come in, did you see that GeoNet is listed on the roadmap for Coinbase?
I did indeed. It is my largest altcoin position, so I saw that.
I saw it and I thought of you, and I was like, oh, I'm going to talk to Andy later this week, and should be very interesting. Now, do you hold most of your GeoNet in Polygon, or is it on Solana?
Solana.
Which, smart.
Can you even hold it on Polygon? Well, they did the migration, and you got a little
Did they
bonus.
eliminate that?
Thought so.
Because you could still hold it.
Yeah.
I just think you had to make your changes for the payouts. Was my understanding. Because
they had a big migration when they moved over to Solana. And if you did the migration, you did get some bonus geode. So it was really good to do the migration. You got some free tokens out of it.
Now, are you running any GeoNet miners currently, or just a big proponent of the project?
Just one here at the
well,
not here at my office, but at my house. Yeah, I've got one. I've mostly just been buying it. It seems.
Are you in? Do you have your own hex or no?
No. Unfortunately, in my area, someone had just snuck in right before I got my first one once upon a time. But no, I've just been buying. It's been desperately undervalued in my estimation for a long time. Their current ARR is it at 10? It's real close to $10 million annual recurring, 10.39 million. And their market cap it's been going up 97 million. And if you look at where they are versus others in terms of the revenue they're making to their market cap ratio, they are like, there's so many that are way crazy, even ones that are not super crazy. Akash is a $200,000 market cap, but they're at a 90.3x multiple on revenue to market cap, whereas GeoNet is at a 12.1x. That's it. You've got others like Render Network at $887 million market cap. Their annualized revenue is $1 million. So they're at a 788x. So in my mind, I'm like, GeoNet's, is easy 10x from here at the minimum. Because they're making their number just keeps growing constantly. Great team, great product, great data set that they have cornered. And I'm super bullish on GeoNet.
Something you've mentioned many times on collaborations we've done too is just the fact of like with GeoNet, you can look at it and there's an active revenue stream. There's a lot of these DEPIN projects that have no revenue at all. And so I think it helps to have customers, to have actual value. Like there's a value there. Like they're reselling that data somewhere along the line and someone is seeing a value to it and spending the money on that. And I think that's definitely important. For me, I have 2 GeoNets running. Neither of them are in their own hex. I had the exact same situation, bought my unit, typical content creator, sat in a box. 2 weeks later, went ahead to go ahead and install it, and somebody already got a hex within the 2 weeks there, where both of them were. So I only earn like 3 GeoNet a day or something like that somewhere around there, per GeoNet, which is tough. I'm not seeing that number go up as quickly as what I've wanted to do, and that might be a good buying opportunity to just add that to the list of tokens to purchase, as well as I don't want to say mine. Should I say get paid for the rewards for kind of that proof of coverage? I think is a good call.
Yeah. Plus, they have the real revenue, real customers, and all that, and that keeps growing. But they have that really crazy 80% buyback and burn mechanism where 80% of the revenue is split, and a portion of that
Mhm.
goes into buying back geode tokens on the open market and burning some, but also going into the foundation for future stuff. So for like ecosystem development and probably marketing and various things.
Yeah.
So they're not only making money, which is extraordinarily rare in the world of crypto and crypto projects. Most talk about like one day, and there's some that are on both of our portfolios that fit into that category.
Yes.
GeoNet is actually doing it to an extreme degree, and I feel like the market has not recognized that yet. But a Coinbase roadmap is certainly directionally where we need to be headed.
Yeah, it's a major win. When I look back at projects and a lot of the projects that you and I participated in, and we'll call this one out for sure, Flux. Flux was one where like, when are we getting listed, right? When are we getting on the major exchanges? What does that look like? And I don't know if GeoNet paid the Coinbase listing fee, which is like something crazy. Last I heard it was $1 million, could be more. But the difference is wait, GeoNet has the revenue. Like they are actively making money. So from a strategic perspective, that would 100% make sense, to keep that going. If they paid for it, great. Sometimes Coinbase will approach you to have that done. But that says a lot because look at all the different DePIN projects that have been in the industry and have looked successful. And then the exchanges, that off ramp opportunity is like, you got to go through this VPN to get to this country to use this shady exchange. It's like, what? Like, so I think this is a really good move and encourages me. Yeah, Andy, you had said too, it's on Tangem as well, which is great. Mine's on Tangem right now, and it's been very, very easy. I think someone correct me if I'm wrong. Can you swap into, so at Tangem, those of you guys not familiar, you can swap in to different tokens. So at any time, I could say, take my USDC, take $100 of it, swap it into Bitcoin, and it'll do that for you in a matter of seconds. And it's no KYC and no exchange involved. Can you swap into GeoNet Solana? Do you know that?
Yes, I have done it
Oh,
in
nice,
Tangem.
nice.
On Polygon, I'm not sure.
Okay,
Yeah, Bauer says can't find that, but it's definitely. I just verified all my
yeah.
GeoNet is on Solana, and it's all in
Mhm.
Tangem. So maybe you need to update your app or something, or
Yes,
go
you
back
have
to
you you have to if you haven't in a long time. I had that issue when I first found out about it. I just loaded the app and was like, "Wait, where is it? It's not in here." And kind of go and went that route. So I think that's really really strong. I think and Nick in chat's kind of my main moderator. I don't know if we have a command for Tangem. If we don't, please create one. I think that would be good. And you can link it based off of the where to buy crypto wallets, Tangem. You can just link that video or also link the code because I have a code and a discount code as well working with Tangem, because Tangem has been awesome so far. I am up to 3 Tangems actively, and I have a fourth one sitting over here as well. So I am sold. I am sold 100%.
Joker. Yeah, I can't remember. I'm guessing that what you're saying is correct. I can't remember doing swaps on Polygon for GeoNet, but I can confirm swapping works great on Solana. I've done that several
Mhm.
times. Now, the catch with Tangem swaps is very, very convenient, but the fees are a little on the heavier side, but
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
price you're paying for convenience
convenience.
of doing it within your wallet. So if you want the cheapest conversion, then you need to either move to a MetaMask or a Rabby or something to do in browser swaps on a DEX, or you can of course connect
Yeah.
Tangem to those. It's just an extra couple steps if you actually want the best conversion possible. But if you just want to do it in your wallet and stop thinking about it, Tangem swaps are great. They're just a little fee heavy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I 100%. I mean, I pay the fee time and time again. It just
I
because of
do
the
too.
convenience factor.
Yeah. I mean,
Come
they're
on, you
not
talk
like
about
crazy,
laziness.
crazy, but they are just
No,
little
no,
heightened.
no, not at all. And you could wait for it to be on Coinbase, but Coinbase always has massive fees. Like their fees are always through the roof when you're dealing on that platform. Bauer had said, I'm holding GeoNet in my Tangem wallet. Is it important to move them to Solana? So I'm mentioning Solana because there's a lot like being able to swap right from GeoNet Solana right in, like most of my, if I'm going to take any rewards, not that that's in my crosshairs right now on GeoNet, I would take it over. I would swap it over to Solana when that time comes. And then, you have it in Solana and then you can do with it what you want. Traditionally, I know Andy and I are big on staking Solana. With I Trust Capital is a big one. So you can kind of take those rewards and have them work for you as much. But yeah, that's kind of my mindset. Any additional feedback on kind of, is it needed to move to GeoNet's Solana versus Polygon?
My standard operating procedure for that is if a crypto project has made a big deal of moving chains and they have now kind of what they're considered their primary chain, well, then my suggestion is as soon as you can be on that primary chain, because if that is their focus, then that's where they're going to focus on having all the liquidity, all the updates and things. And I just don't want to get left behind. Basically, you always want to be positioned and ready to go as if the bull run is tomorrow and you're ready to sell stuff, because what you don't want to happen is you have it on Polygon or something, and 6-9 months from right now, we get to the bull run, and then you're like, oh shit, I need to get this over to Solana because all the Polygon liquidity is dried up. It's only on this one DEX now, and then you got to figure that out, and you're just like stressed and scrambling for time. So yeah, that's my recommendation.
Yeah, I think it is. This is something I've talked about in my Discord. There's a beginner section, and there's a number of different videos out there. One of the videos that comes to mind is one I recorded with Red Fox Crypto, and it was like 5 things for brand new miners to consider. And we talked about cold storage wallet, we talked about this, but one of the things we talked about was being set up with these projects on like, what is your off ramp when you get into it, which is not normal, right? You're not like, wait, I'm just joining this project. Why would I think about my off ramp, selling it, and like, but the challenge is you don't think about that until it's the oh shit moment of like, this is pumping, I want to take profits. I'm not set up for it. I don't know on the right exchange. I don't have an account set up. Is it KYC? How long does it take? Just as you had talked about, is there even liquidity available for you to like? It's just like, man, think about that day one. The second anything hits your wallet, it's like, okay, great. Not to say you have to do it that minute, but what does that off ramp steps look like to you? And is it easy? For me, it's going to be significantly easier to go right into Solana versus dealing with Polygon and everything like that. So for me, that's where my head goes, which isn't normal, but is definitely something as a beginner that you really have to think about.
I think that should be normal. And if you'll allow me, because I'm wearing the hat, there were a few people talking about Sleep Money Club in the chat.
Do it.
I literally have multiple courses that I built that are in the club that are all about like how to prepare for a bull run, and it covers all that stuff in depth detail, not just like how to get your exit and how to prepare for that, but also like how many bank accounts you need and what types, and like how to think through all the after steps, because everybody thinks about that stuff while the bull run is happening, and you're gonna just fuck it all up. Like it's just gonna be ruined, and you're gonna regret and whatever. So the smart thing to do is when we're in a bear market, which I guess clearly we are, or some in between weirdness, whatever this is. This is the time to think through all the logistics of your ins and outs for every position you have and prepare for that. And I have extensive courses. Sleep Money Club is, of course, great because you get to see the things I'm buying and get to see some of my token picks and things like that. But I think it's more valuable from all the courses and guides we have that just help you wrap your mind around all that stuff so you can successfully navigate those markets. And if there is people are interested in that, I think Hobby has a link.
I'm literally grabbing it right now. So I do have a link for Sleep Money Club. Nick, if you want to just create a command for that, like ZZZ. But I think also when we're talking about that, there was a lot in question. People were talking about Sleep Money Club, exactly like what is it, and you've alluded to it. Do you want to give like a 50,000 foot level of like what is Sleep Money Club to anybody who's never heard of it before?
Yeah, at its absolute highest level, it's just a really tight knit and exclusive community. I call it a premium crypto membership, but it's a paid Discord group. And the reason I have set it up like that, and the reason I like that, is because everybody who pays that fee and comes into the club is really serious about being there and making the most of that membership fee that they're paying. And so it's really, really helpful. We have people in there who ask, really detailed questions all the time, and then all the community rallies around to try to help them and figure things out. And we're sharing ideas on what to invest and talking through our thinking of where we are in the cycle and what tokens and investments we want to make and stuff like that. But as course, just community. But then on top of that, you get to see everything I'm buying and selling and all the moves I make long before they ever get shared on YouTube. And that's not because I'm trying to like hide that from my YouTube audience. It just takes forever to put all my moves and various things into video form and send it to my video editor and make, write the script and record it and send it to the editor and put it out and whatever. By that time, sometimes the information is old. It's really easy for me to put one little text line and type it in the club and give you some color around why I'm making that move. But of course, there's just we put out guides every single week. Everything from like how to make money guides and everything from the real world to traditional investing to the crypto world. But also just like how to use MetaMask and how to prepare for the bull run and how to set up liquidity and do staking and like everything in between. So it's just a culmination and a collection of everything that I have deemed important to my journey in crypto and investing so far, and trying to rally a bunch of people around all that who are incredibly invested in being successful with investing.
Yeah, I think for me, I would say where I value the most from it, and this isn't meant to be a massive infomercial, but I want to be clear. For me, being in the industry for quite some time, I'm not naturally going over to the course section, but I think it's great for beginners, like people just getting in that want to have that massive like educational dump. I think it's great for me, and I'll tell folks where I've used it is there is a trading channel that allows you to see, like what are people report in there, what they're buying and what they're selling. And I think it's great because there's conversation around that. So it's like, hey, I'm buying this and here's why, and here's how much I bought of it. And so it's nice to be like, oh, like, and a lot of you guys are always like looking for like, what's the next big thing? Not to say those are guarantees, but it's nice to be able to see what other people are actively doing. Like, oh, they bought this. Well, why did they buy that? Like, what was that? Or, hey, I bought it for this and I sold it for this. I got a win of this. It's like, oh, that's cool. Like, so there is that side of it. So if you're one of those people that have wanted to find a community of like, hey, I just want to find like-minded people, that's definitely the way to go. And it's not just limited in crypto. It's also in trading and stocks and stuff like that too. So yeah, go check it out. I think Sleep Money Club is awesome.
Hobby's in there. Greater Good Mining is in there. You can say hi to all of them.
That's right. That's right. So let's see. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to post them in chat. We're going to be live for another 12 minutes or so. Then we'll be back in action next week on Tuesday, which will be a lot of fun. Should be good. We actually, last live stream, I had a bunch of broken solo miners that I've gotten that like stopped working. And we were able to fix 1 out of 3 of them on that stream. And so we gave that away. So like I gave that, it was a Octax. It was a 9 or 10 terahash Octax. Amplifier Gaming actually won that, community member. And so I had to order a few things, got some recommendations. I used a multimeter for the first time. Chat taught me how to use that. And we had to order some fuses. So we're going to try to fix some more and give those away if we fix them, which should be a lot of fun. So I think we'll kick that back off next week, which will be good and be a lot of fun there. But outside of that, looking at things for you, are there any crypto? We were just talking about stocks and stuff like that. Is there anything that's kind of in your crosshairs right now, whether to buy or even a stock that you're focusing on right now that's kind of got your attention?
On the stock front, I had made pretty sizable investments into Cipher Digital in the past month.
What's Cipher Digital?
Yeah, CIFR is their ticker.
Okay.
Okay. Bitcoin miner, publicly traded Bitcoin miner.
That
has made a big transition into AI, and that thing has just been gangbusters over the. It's up.
That's cool.
From like $18 from my entries to $30 today or whatever. Okay. And I put a pretty sizable chunk of one of my portfolios into it, so I'm a happy guy with that. But that one, they just got a really great looking timeline and pipeline for the data center side. Plus, I'm still bullish on Bitcoin miners long term. So it's got that kind of nice combo One that we both, I know, invested in, Soluna,
Yeah.
is the same kind of thing, but just extremely early in
Yeah.
comparison. That one I had more positioned, but I did sell off.
Oh, you took some
Probably,
profits. Nice.
yeah, probably 2/3. Took some profits on that.
Okay.
I still hold some of my main traditional taxable brokerage account,
Hmm.
but that one still bullish on it. But also, there's been some history of like people buying into it and like holding the bags for a long time. So I'm a little cautious. I'm going like super heavy into that one long term, just kind of watching it.
Yeah.
And then the other stock I've done a post on recently in Sleep Money Club, and I bought into was T1 Energy. TE is the stock ticker,
Okay.
which is another one of I don't know if anybody's been following Leopold Aschenbrenner. He's like this wonderkind. He's just
Okay.
like made so much money over the past year or so with his hedge fund, and a lot of people who've been following his trades have made a lot of money. And
Oh
he
man.
recently had to do his disclosures for what he sold or bought in the
Yeah.
past quarter. And T1 Energy, which is a pretty small solar manufacturer, infrastructure manufacturer, was on his list, and it's a very low valuation, and it looks
Hmm.
like a few others that have popped off. So I got into that, and that one's been pretty good. It's like doubled since I got into it. And yeah, those are the stock ones I've been looking at. I mean, I have
Yeah.
most of my money still. Oh, go ahead.
I'll say to comment on that a little bit. Gecko 2, thank you for bringing that up. One of the S21 XPs I bought recently used was from
Oh,
Cypher Mining. It had like a little sticker on it,
that's
which was
funny.
really funny. Yeah, so it's so funny how like the community like remembers everything. I touched it, I set it up, I cleaned it off, like I configured it, and I still didn't remember the company was Cypher Mining. Yet
Well,
a
thank you
community
for
member
helping
like,
prop up the share price that is making me money right now. Thank you, Hobby.
yeah. Yeah, that's really funny. On Soluna, yeah, I'm still in it. My average cost is $1.25 right now. And that has worked out well. And I'm probably gonna hold out for quite some time until they get all the announcements and the farm starts turning up for their AI side of things. I think I'm eager to see where that goes with them in that regard. A big win for me, I shared it with you not too long ago, was actually HUD 8. I got into HUD 8
Man,
a while ago, and my average cost with them was $9.12. Well,
they're at
HUD 8 right now is
$130
100.
now.
Yeah, yeah, I know. So
Crazy.
I did sell some of that off to buy into the SpaceX IPO. But yeah, I was up over about 1,400%. And that's not normal, guys. I don't know anything, and I don't know anything more. I just bought HUD 8. Right, I bought HUD 8 right after the last bull run when we got into the bear market, and a lot of companies, mining companies, were going under. Core Scientific was one of them, and because they took out a lot of their debt based off the price of the miners and Bitcoin and how much those miners were making. And what I found was, and I don't know if this was your channel, it might have even been Voscoin's channel. He gets into a lot of these mining stocks, but they were talking about HUD 8 positioned themselves very differently than other companies
Yep.
because they did not do that when it came down to any of their lending practices, and that really stuck out to me. So this was last bear market, right after that, and I was like, that says a lot to me. That says longevity to me. So I literally remember those flags that stood up to me to be like, hey, there's something here. So I made out really well with them, but I also did buy right before that Core Scientific, and that completely flopped. They went under. So I still had some shares in them more recently that were left over that I could finally sell out of. So I was like, great, we're just gonna get out of like with very minimal. We're getting out of that, which would be really really good. But yeah, those have traditionally done. I've done definitely well with them. I've consolidated down a lot of my play investments to just a lot fewer of stronger ones out there that really stood out to me thus far.
Yeah, I think you've beat me on HUT 8. My average cost was around $9. I had 500 shares, so I was in it for about $4,500. And I sold all mine around $60. So I did turn
Mm,
4,500 into 30 grand, which I'm very
hmm.
happy about, but could have
Yeah,
doubled it
yeah,
again if I had knowing it was going to keep going to 130. But
Yeah.
I'm very happy that I've taken some of that money and put it to Cypher, and now I've really close to double that money again. So it's all. But how do you know? How can you possibly predict that
You don't
it's
know
going
what
to
you
go?
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. A
Profit is
question.
also profit. So like never like get down on yourself for taking profits, even if it goes higher.
Yeah, I mean that's my mindset too. Is like great example with Hut 8. I still have quite a bit in there, and just selling off a little bit to which were all profit. That's all
Mhm.
profits. To then reinvest it, as I said, it was only like $1,000 into another possible opportunity. Works out well. This one's an interesting one. We'll end on this one a little bit. Travelers Travel says thoughts on SpaceX stock. I swapped $1,000 of Bitcoin into 5 shares. So we did talk about SpaceX and if we did or did not get into it. But I don't like this play, Travelers Travels. But I'm going to throw it over to Andy first to get your thoughts on him selling $1,000 in Bitcoin for SpaceX.
If you're bullish on SpaceX and you think that this isn't just pure hype it's operating on right now and it's going to keep going up, I love you buying shares of it. However, my rule of thumb is never to sell Bitcoin, and definitely not selling it just to go into another investment. Almost everybody I've ever talked to who sold Bitcoin to put it into another investment has regretted it.
Yep.
I mean, it depends on what your thesis is. If you really aren't a believer in Bitcoin, well, then I go, why, first off? But then second, if it's truly the case, then sure, that makes sense. But I would, I take all my other money. I will sell things from my house and things that I can just live without, and I will eat rice and beans instead of going out and just use that money instead to buy things versus selling off any of my Bitcoin to put it into
Mhm.
investments. Because yeah, Bitcoin's track record, I recognize the past. If you look at like 5 years ago to today, it hasn't made any money, but if you zoom out in the in betweens or just past that, it's made a lot of money, and I think it's going to make a
Yeah.
lot of money again over the next year, hopefully. Uh, but hey, you do you. I support you doing you.
Yeah, I it depends how you view Bitcoin. Like for me, now is a terrible time to sell $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. Um,
Yeah.
so for me, it's like, oh man, like here's the thing. I'm gonna take a guess, Travels, and I don't know your financial situation or not, but if you're selling off Bitcoin when Bitcoin is low, like it is, and this is low, rather, my guess is you don't have other disposable income to then buy into SpaceX. That's my guess. I personally wouldn't have made that move. I have accumulated Bitcoin to hold for the long term. And like long term for me is like, hey, this isn't a wallet that like is if I all of a sudden pass away, there is funds there for my wife, and there's a little bit of Bitcoin for each of my kids. Like that's how I'm viewing this. So I'm not going in there and actively selling like regardless. I am finding other avenues. Bitcoin would not be my personal first choice of what I would sell in order to get into that. I talked about like I sold something I was 114 or 1400% on and took profits and rolled it in. Like that's naturally for me. So that being said, if you're investing into SpaceX and you're putting $1,000 into it, my hope would be that you're looking to hold it for a little bit longer than what you held your Bitcoin for to kind of make more out of it. Unfortunately, the short-term mindset of trying to like buy into this to make a quick dollar to sell out of it. It's just as Andy alluded to earlier, like does not long term does not prove to be very successful for people. Buying and selling and buying and selling and jumping in and out of it, you kind of get burned a lot more than just kind of playing the game long term. So that's kind of why I was like, oh, I don't like this decision. But as Andy was talking, made me think about the fact of like it depends on your financial situation
Yeah.
and like what you had readily available.
Yeah. I think we're probably at the bottom or close to the bottom for Bitcoin this cycle. But let's
Mhm.
say we did go down to 50,000 from where we are today. That's like 16 to 20% of a drop. But let's say we did go to 50. You
Yeah.
sell now. Well, you saved yourself a 15 to 20% drop. But from 50 to 126K, the old all-time high, which I think we will go well past in the future, That's 150+% increase for just a tiny little savings of catching the almost bottom. So if it is the case where you wanted SpaceX, you didn't have any other disposable income to grab SpaceX, so you sold Bitcoin to do so. If you are a Bitcoin believer, if you're a crazy person like me and you think it's going to $1 million one day or higher, or maybe you don't even think that high, maybe you think 250K to 500K or something, then my advice to you would be like, stop what you're doing and immediately right now do whatever you can. Sell stuff from your house, go on a bit of a budget for a few months, drive for Uber, rent your car out on Turo, figure out some other side hustle. I don't care. Do whatever you have to do and get that $1,000 of Bitcoin back while we're still in the 60,000 range. And then for the future, keep like hustling and scrapping. I did everything under the sun when it came to side hustles. I was literally driving for Uber and Lyft and selling stuff on eBay and like doing like cheap ass like IT work for just like friends and family and stuff, like anything I could in the early days of me buying Bitcoin, when I finally understood what it was I was buying. When my 9-to-5 job money was not sufficient to buy to pay for all my normal things in life, and then for me and my wife, and then buy Bitcoin on top of that. So I just did everything else. I just spent all my extra time. I didn't watch shows. I didn't hang out with friends as much. I didn't go to movie. Like, I just chose to use my time. And and this is not a tirade against travelers travel. I don't know what your situation is.
No, not at all.
Anybody who's in this situation. My point is, like, how hungry are you? What do you believe? And like, what are you doing to go see that through? Because I feel like most people, again, going back to sitting on your hands with Pearl or whatever, most people complain about like not having any extra money and stuff. I'm like, are you using every like minute in the day to go do other things to get that money to buy? Because those early days when I could barely afford to get an extra $100-200 a month being investing into Bitcoin, those investments are up like 1,000% now.
Oh, my word.
Am I glad I scraped to get an extra couple $100 a month to buy Bitcoin in those early days? Yeah, I am. So that's what I would suggest you do. What do you think, Hobby?
Yeah, Andy did a great interview with an individual, and I forget her name, but I watched the interview of it on his channel. Yep, who drove for Uber and like sold everything she could in order to accumulate Bitcoin. And it's a really good listen. So go over and check it out over on his channel. But that being said, guys, we're going to wrap things up for today. We hit that 2:00 time period. Andy and I will both be at Mining Disrupt coming up here in about a month. So I'll be seeing you very soon, Andy. So hopefully if you guys do decide to come, please stop us and say hello. Come hang out. That would be absolutely awesome. Guys, I'll be live again on Tuesday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, everybody, for coming to join Andy and I today. And I think we'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.